So we just got back from our trip from Texas,
Yeah.
or to Texas, not from Texas.
Big old dirty Texas.
Yeah. So we went down there to take your mom to Texas and drop her off for the winter. She's going to stay down there for 4 months. She's going to come back home. Your mom, I don't even know how to describe her to the audience here. It's almost like, so you kind of have to think of your mom like a child sometimes. It's like the older she gets, it's the more she infantilizes herself almost. She's like, I can't do this and I can't do that. And it turns out really she can. She just wants you to do it for her. And she gets so stressed out and she couldn't handle it. She couldn't set up her TV.
Yeah. Hey, she just texted me like 20 minutes ago and said she finally got it set up.
Finally.
She's like, just like home.
So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. But I wanted to talk a little bit about like our New Year's Eve celebration wasn't much of a celebration. I think in the hubbub, I kind of forgot it was New Year's Eve.
Yeah. Well, and I got to thinking on the way home, I was like, man, this is like the first New Year's Eve that we
Didn't do anything. We didn't do anything.
We were in bed by like before 11 o'clock, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All of us,
Because
all
we
four of us.
were all sleeping at midnight. And okay, so we were in Houston.
War zone. That's what Houston sounded like, was a war zone.
It was unbelievable. It was so loud and it went on for so long, but somehow I was able to roll over and sleep through it.
Like
but
we both, I think, woke up at the same time and I was like, what the hell? And you're like, yeah. And you like, you just went back to sleep. Like Sully and Rocket, like they didn't even wake up at all.
So it wasn't boring. I can say it wasn't boring. We started out the trip. It was kind of like a working vacation. We haven't had a vacation in a couple of years, and
It was just like we could get out of the house.
yes, we desperately. I'm suffering. I've been suffering for the last couple of years, like a bad case of burnout.
Yeah.
Like really bad. In 2024, I was so burnout, and I actually feel refreshed now. I actually feel like I can go do things that I can do the podcast and have a reinvigorated, take on things and get things done. But for me, it was kind of like a working vacation. I wasn't really thinking too much about vacation things. I was thinking about your mom and leaving her there, and I'm just like, she needed help getting to Walmart and this, that, and the other thing, and it just didn't make me feel very good about leaving her down there in the armpit of Texas.
Like right by the border too.
Like a stone's throw away from Mexico, literally.
I mean, the place she's staying though, like as soon as we got there, I was like, this is so cute. Like this would be like a perfect spot for mom if she knew and got to know people there. Like it's
Except her place was a dump, but
well, I definitely think it needed some updating.
updating, hell.
Like, everybody there had like the outsides of their little trailers
Yeah,
decorated.
that was cute. That was cool.
And I think that's what it needs. It needs some pizzazz on the outside or something.
But it was very dirty and dingy, and I couldn't figure it out. Like I did not like Texas.
Yeah.
And it's not for a lack
Texas
of
is
trying.
dirty and dingy.
It's not for a lack of trying. It's just dirty and dingy there. And I was like, man, this is really, it's dirty down here. Like it's dirty. And so I did a little bit of research on why is Texas so damn dirty. And it's because of the oil fields and
Dry
industrial
weather.
stuff and dry weather. There's no rain to wash shit off. And so I was like, okay, I kind of understand. And it's so spread out, but you could
Yeah.
really tell the state really cares about their stuff. And I talked about this a little bit on the way up here, or on the way home. The state really cares about their stuff, but it's like nobody else gives a shit about anything.
No.
Like none of the stores were well kept. Like we went to Houston and we went to some nice places, but you get in there and it's a facade.
Yeah.
It's a nice looking facade, but like all the people are just grouchy and just kind of there.
Yeah, they're not very friendly. in
No,
Texas.
no. Well, I did come across some friendly people, but it's just they didn't. It wasn't friendly like Midwest friendly.
Yeah.
Where everybody talks to you and
Like if we, bump into each other, we're like, oh, excuse me.
where if in Texas if somebody bumps into you, they're liable to give you just a dirty look and move on.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I there was massive amount of trucks. I've never seen so many trucks in my life, like pickup trucks.
Yeah. A lot of the vehicles down there, I noticed too, are white.
Yeah. Yeah. And I told you, I was
Which
like,
is like, I'm like, it's such a dirty place.
yeah. Well, I mean, if you wash your car and keep it clean, it looks nice, I guess. I don't know. But also white reflects heat. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just, it was one of the weirdest experiences I've ever been through going to a Walmart in the middle. Where were we? Was it Dallas?
No, we were in Houston.
Was it Houston? Okay. So we were
Everything bad happened in Houston.
So, and we'll get to that in a second because there was a terrorist attack in New Orleans and that guy was from Houston and he lived in Houston at that, like while we were down there, he could have been fucking around down there causing hate and discontent. We could have caught up in the middle of it. That worries me.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that too. But it was one of the weirdest experiences going into Walmart in Houston. Everything's tied down.
Yeah.
Like everything is locked up. Like, so some of the stupidest things, like expensive things, were not locked up.
Right.
But deodorant. Try to buy deodorant in Houston. You got to ask somebody for help. And I got so frustrated with that. I just left.
Yeah. I think almost all the personal hygiene stuff was all locked up. But then
Which
you had the
deodorant?
pharmacy right next door.
You would figure deodorant's one of those things they wouldn't mind if people stole.
Yeah. Like,
You know?
please, still some deodorant.
Yeah. And in Texas, the heat, shit.
I mean, but maybe that's why it's locked up because people don't want to stink.
Yeah. Hey, I don't want to stink. I know that. I went there looking for deodorant. I've forgotten. Well, it's not, I didn't forget it. I was out of deodorant
Yeah.
and I said, well, I just have to stop at a Walmart or something.
And we did, and it was locked up. But did you see how many people were waiting there for somebody to come over and unlock
Oh yeah.
the deodorant?
Yeah. That's
There's
why
like
I just
5
walked
people.
away. That's
Yeah.
why I just walked away.
And then we went to Target. Targets are known to be nice. Like, when you want to talk about a rich people store, I think about Target. It's like the rich people Walmart, right?
Yeah.
That was the
It
dirtiest.
is the rich people Walmart, I guess.
It was the dirtiest Target I've ever been to in my life. It was like a Kmart.
Yeah.
Like right
now-
before they closed is what it reminded me of. It was so dirty.
Now, I mean, listen, we're talking about this when calling Texas dirty. I've been to San Francisco. Okay. Like that place is fucking disgusting, but I've been to places like that. I've been all over the United States. I'd have to say Texas is dirty and I've never been anywhere that dirty.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the kind of dirty like San Francisco's got shit and piss all over it. But this was like urban decay,
A lot of dilapidated.
rural decay.
Yeah. Like just driving on the highway. Like, like on the way down there, we had to go through all those little towns.
Yeah, and North Texas, I saw a lot of trash.
Yeah. A lot of houses are just like falling apart and people's yards are like full of junk.
Yeah.
And it's like, where's the house and where's the junk? Like, where's it begin?
Now,
Where's the driveway? Because I can't even see it because it's overgrown by cactuses.
in Texas's defense, we didn't see all of Texas. We saw a very small portion of Texas, but we saw
But then Dallas,
all-
Dallas was really nice
Yeah,
where
and
we went. And
Dallas was cool.
And there was parts of Houston that were nice that we went to. But
Parts of
most
Houston.
But most of Houston was sketchy.
I did notice Dallas was really clean. Dallas was really clean.
Yeah.
The city inside the city is really clean, and I had amazing fun. But usually when I go on vacations, I unplug and I have time to think and reflect on things, and I didn't have that this time. We were only gone for what, 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
5 days.
We
were
spent
gone.
most of that driving.
Yes.
And I think that's the bad thing about Texas. Like, Texas is huge. And so, like, to get between those major cities, it's like 5 hours.
Right. And it wasn't terrible. Like I've had worse times driving. If I'm being honest, that drive to Disney World is terrible. Like
Yeah.
that we when we drive down to Orlando, we live near Kansas City. It takes 24 hours. We just take turns driving and sleeping until we get there.
Yeah.
And we don't stop because there's when we go down there, we're so excited about getting there, and there's really nowhere we really want to stop on the way down there. But on the way back, we'll hit some cool shit and go into the mountains and go see my sister and stuff like that.
Well, and
But-
sometimes we sleep in the mountains.
yeah. It's
On the side of the road.
We were at a
Rest
rest
stop.
stop. That's what it's for, is resting. But no, I didn't really have any time to reflect on things. And I kind of reflected after I got home on the trip, and leaving your mom down there kind of worries me a little bit, in that I feel somewhat responsible for her. And I don't know how to tell her, like, look, we have to think of you like a child now, because I tell you what, we had our 5-year-old and our 15-year-old in the car all weekend, like all weekend. And they bickered back and forth, but it was easier to deal with them than it was to deal with your mother. And I don't know how to have that conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say, look, I don't feel comfortable leaving you down here because you behave like a child.
No, I think it's just, I don't know. It's not that my mom, really, because my mom's pretty independent. I think it's just like,
she is, until like she wants you to do something for her or wants you to spend time with her. Her idea of you spending time with her is you doing things for her like she did for her mother.
yeah. So that's one thing I think about. And like, I've heard that from other family members about my mom, is that, well, what your mom does is what her mom did. And then what her mom did. So like my grandma took care of her mom
Right.
when she got to a certain age. And then like my mom took care of my grandma and did everything with my grandma. and
But
did
they
things
all
for
had
my
a better
grandma.
relationship with each other.
Well, it was a different time.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, I don't have 8 kids
No,
like my grandma did, but
you do. Like, I think the difference between
it was
modern families and families of the past is this whole capitalism thing is not new, in the fact that we've been doing this for a long time. It's not a new idea, but over the last 80 years, think about what's happened to the nuclear family because of things like industrialization and, like the war and stuff like that. Families are just back before 80 years ago. Families had to stick together because, like, children were workhorses.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you had children to contribute to the farm, do chores and stuff like that.
yeah.
Now, people live in cities. It's not necessary anymore. It's not necessary for your kids to contribute. And instead of being, I think Peter Zeihan says it the best. Like, instead of being a benefit, a net benefit for the children to, be on the farm, work, contribute to the household, they essentially become a bill when you move into the city. And over the last 80 years, we've all just conditioned ourselves to separate from our families and become more independent and go our own routes. And then, like, we just forget about, hey, we have a community here. We have to take care of each other. And it sucks, but like, I wasn't raised to take care of my family. Like, they didn't give a shit about me when I was younger. So why should I care about them?
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Well, because I know sometimes when my mom's talking to me about certain things, like, for instance, like, okay, like vacations. Like, I remember going on 2 vacations with my grandparents. Like, we all just went together. Like, we
Yeah.
didn't- my mom didn't think twice about not taking them.
Yeah.
And so, she's mentioned before, like, it'd be nice if I got to go on vacation with you guys. Like, but I just don't think about that,
I do, but the thing is, like, when I think of taking your mom on
she
vacation,
says, I know it's just a different time. That's what she always says.
I think about it. When I think about taking your mom on vacation, it's just like, it's a headache because when we go on vacation, we kind of need time to recuperate when we get home. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people like that, but we do it on purpose. Like, we leave the house to get away from these.
Yeah.
We leave the house, we go on vacation to get away from the television, to get away from media, to get away from the norm, like we were down in Texas and we were talking about dinner and stuff, and you said Chili's. We got a Chili's at home, and I can go to Chili's at home. Like, let's go somewhere we haven't been. And I do that everywhere. I do things like that everywhere. And when we go on vacation, I don't want to think about the normal shit that we have to think about all the time.
Well, and when I go on vacation, I just don't want to sit in a hotel room.
Right, because I can do that at home.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's nice every once in a while to take a vacation, just not do nothing or whatever. But those aren't.
It's boring.
The
Vacations like that are very boring.
Yeah, and like we have 2 kids that want to go and see and do stuff, So, like, I know, like, especially like when we went to Universal, like one time we talked about mom going, but then I'm like,
what will you do the whole time?
I want you to just sit in a hotel room, and you don't want to waste money on tickets,
right?
When you're not gonna ride any rides. You know what I mean?
And not only that, but then I think she'd probably guilt us a little bit for going to the park and leaving her at the hotel where she wants to be. She would guilt us because we don't want to stay in the hotel with her.
Yeah.
And I would have to explain to her, like, look, this is my vacation. This is what we do. If you don't want to be here, get on a plane and go home. And that's kind of how I kind of had to have that moment with your mom where I did have to talk to her like a child. She was unloading her stuff out of the car. So when we got there, we had to wait for her landlord to get there to drop off the key. And we were only there for 15, 20 minutes. Like, it wasn't long at all waiting. And in that 5-minute time window where we had just pulled up and we're trying to figure out what we're doing, she was already unpacking the car and putting the stuff out on the sidewalk. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I'm just unpacking the car. And I'm like, we'll do that in a minute. Just hold on. We'll just hang out for a second and we'll just figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there. And then she kept taking stuff out of the car. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And before you had told her, I had told her twice that didn't make sense to take it out of the car,
right? Put
it on the ground, lift it off the ground into the house instead of just out of the car into the house.
That's what I was explaining. She's like, and then she started going through it. And I'm like, what, like, why are you going through the bags now? Like, why are you unpacking? Like, we'll do that when we get inside. And 3 times I felt like I had to redirect her like I do my children. And it was very frustrating because we are so used to looking at our parents as more wise than we are.
Yeah.
And, or looking for advice from our parents, but we're past that with your mom. Like, she comes to us for advice and I'm like, I don't know what to do about your retirement, Barb. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very frustrating at times, but
yeah. Well, and then, there's those things like we talked about, like with the TV, like she can order things off her apps like Shein,
HLN off. She's still calling the
T&M or Wayfair.
Yeah.
But like wanted me to tell her how to download a Netflix app.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm like, I've been on your phone. Like, you have 50 shopping apps.
Yeah. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Like, those are more complicated than Netflix. You know what I mean? And so, like, sometimes I don't know if she just doesn't think about it, like, or if she just wants me to do it.
I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know, but your mom's not the only person I know like that.
I know. I know lots of people in the boomer generation
I mean,
that's like that.
I've heard of people, a lot of people, like friends of mine with their coworkers and stuff. Like they're having a little bit of cognitive decline and they won't admit it to anybody. And when people point it out, they get mad and defensive. And I'm like, I'm just trying to help.
I mean, I can't just say it's like an older generation. We got some Gen Zers.
Yeah. Well,
But like if you think about it, I'm not going to mention who they are, but you know, they can do this.
Yeah,
But then
yeah.
they can't do that. You know, that's simpler.
Well, I'm kind of like that with PCs. Like with some of these software programs, I don't understand how to run them. And I was thinking about it one day, and the difference between PCs now versus PCs when I was younger is everything's been dumbed down.
Yeah.
Everything's been dumbed down.
Or we used to have to put in like command
exactly
codes and stuff to operate computers.
Exactly.
And like use a floppy disk.
But for the last 20 years, I've had this thing, which is nothing like a PC. The software on it is very user friendly, and it is dumbed down to a degree, but it's different.
Yeah.
It's a different system. I've been using this for 20 years. And then I go over there to that computer and it's like a foreign language. And so speaking of foreign languages, I heard a lot of foreign languages in Texas. That was nice. It wasn't just Spanish. I heard a little bit of Japanese. I heard some Indian, so
yeah,
it was a little bit of everything.
Yeah. The Houston Space Center was full of people from everywhere.
Very, very diverse group there. There was people from everywhere, and you could tell that they weren't just from this country. That's what I was happy about. It was like, who the hell comes to Houston Space Center? Yeah. Like, who the hell travels from a different country to come to Houston Space Center? And I'm really glad they did, because they got to see the cool shit that I got to see. And the Saturn V rocket was not there when I went there 25 years ago. So I got to see that. That was really neat. I got to teach the kids about, the Saturn V rocket and some of the Apollo missions. That was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And definitely going to have to go down again, because I don't think Rocket will remember it in his adulthood. So
no, and he was like all over the place too when we went down there.
Yeah, so. Both those kids have ADHD, and it was like, I've said it 2 or 3 times walking through there. Man, I'm really glad I can read fast.
I don't even think I got to read anything.
I did.
But
I could read things as I'm walking past them.
Like the guy that came over and started talking to us about, the astronauts meeting
that
Russians.
Was really, really neat. They had volunteers.
I was able to read all that stuff because he stopped and talked and explained to us what that display was about. But
yeah. And that was the Mir. I can't remember the name of the American side, but the Mir space station. Mm-hmm. That was pretty neat.
Yeah.
It was the connecting capsule that we were looking at, and that was really, really neat, really informative. I thought it was really neat that they had volunteers. NASA volunteers that come out and talk to everybody and tell them about
certain displays.
There was a guy over there wearing a volunteer shirt at the Saturn V rocket, and he's telling a whole big group of people and interacting with children. That was really neat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you've never been to Houston, I suggest going to the Houston Space Center. I've been there twice. I went 20 years ago with my grandparents, and I had a great time there. And this time when we went, it was different, and it had a lot of cool stuff, a lot of new stuff that I'd never seen before. Half of that place was new exhibits that I'd never seen.
Yeah.
And they had an entire section based or devoted to the Artemis moon missions that are now going. The launch for Artemis 2 was postponed recently from 2025 to 2026, but I think that'll give us a little bit more time to plan to go down there and see it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I had fun doing that. Where else did we go? We went and checked out we got some tacos
Yeah.
in Dallas. It was really, really good.
Well,
What'd
you got tacos.
You had
in Dallas.
chimichangas.
I had chimichanga. It was still really good, even though it was like spicy. And
Yeah.
it had some funky purple leaf on it, which Sully said tasted good. I don't know. I wasn't going to taste it because it looked plastic. But it was like an upscale
Mexican
Mexican
restaurant.
restaurant?
Yeah, but it was really good though. I'd never had Mexican that tastes like that, really.
Yeah.
So I think it was like Tex-Mex.
Yeah.
I think that's what they call it down there. But that was really, I like trying different things when we go travel places. And I looked up what foods Texas is known for, what Dallas is known for, Houston. Houston's really known for their Tex-Mex, and Dallas is really known for barbecue, Tex-Mex, stuff like that.
I mean, like, I don't need to try Texas barbecue.
No,
'cause-
I've tried Texas barbecue, and I'm partial to Kansas City barbecue.
Yeah, like, I don't even know what I guess I haven't tried Texas barbecue. Like, what's so different about Texas barbecue?
I don't
compared
know.
to-
You know what? I do like Carolina style barbecue. Is it Carolina or South Carolina style or something like that? They put coleslaw on their
I thought
pulled
that's
pork
like
sandwiches.
Memphis.
Memphis, is that what it is? Memphis barbecue, whatever. I don't
It's
care.
somewhere
It was good.
there. It's not Texas.
good.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was a short working vacation, but we had a little bit of fun.
Yeah. So what I thought was interesting is when we went through Dallas and I seen 30 police cars on the side of the highway at night. Like, what the heck happened over here? And I thought it was like a wreck, Well, then I started doing a little research when we got back to the hotel. Like, what happened in Dallas?
Yeah.
Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. Well, apparently what that was some guy shot and killed some other guy, and he was in a police chase and then stopped his vehicle and shot himself.
Good gravy.
And that's why there were so many police there. It was like all over the news.
Man, I think when
And
the next
everything.
podcast we have, we need to talk about hope and change and care and good stuff. Because damn.
Well, and then remember when we was coming back through Oklahoma, like, I didn't hardly see any police, highway patrol,
son of a
nothing on the
bitch,
way
yeah,
down at
yeah.
all.
And
And
then,
I figured we would, but coming back on New Year's Day,
yeah, they were
all
everywhere.
over Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Like, there was a vehicle fire.
I didn't see any in Missouri either. When we were in Missouri, I didn't.
I bet we didn't get in Missouri very long.
Yeah, well,
So.
what was it? Near we crossed over in Kansas City, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Oklahoma was just full. I mean, and you also had Whataburger for the first time.
Yeah, that was pretty good actually. I did have Whataburger for the first time.
Nice people at the Whataburger in northern Texas.
Oh, let me because
That was
I
where the nice ones were.
I got a funny. Like I thought I was gonna go to jail. When we passed through Border Patrol.
Yeah.
So
I don't know why I was panicking.
I don't know why I was panicking either because I didn't have any drugs with me. Do you remember that? What I was worried about was I'm going to go to jail. Like I had a roach with me. That's it. That's all I had. And I was freaking out over nothing. I didn't think about it until I got home, but I didn't have any. So we had to pass through Border Patrol. We went down. I forget what the highway was, but it was from Dallas to Mission, Texas.
Yeah, it's
It
like
took 8
280.
hours, 280 or something like that. We get down to Mission, Texas, and you pass by Border Patrol, and it's still in Texas, but every so often they have Border Patrol stations everywhere in southern Texas. You got to go through them. And I had, we were leaving and on our way home on the first, and we were going through, I forgot about that Border Patrol station. We had to go through there, and I had weed smelling on the car. And I was freaking out. I was like, oh man, I'm going to go to jail. I was like, I wasn't worried about the jail. I was worried because I don't have any bail money. That's what I was worried about. But I was freaking out. My hands are sweating. I'm fucking panicking. The dog's alerting to the car. So
Well, what was funny is we're in line and I had been through Border Patrol the last time we came through and it was no big thing. He just said, "Are you guys American citizens?" And we're like, "Yep." He's like, "Okay, have a great day."
yeah, you had nothing
And
to
sent
worry
us on our
about.
way.
Yeah.
But when we pulled up and we were in line, you were in the passenger seat and you said, "Oh shit, he's got a dog." And like here he can. That dog was like full charge, like going to like pulling
he
the
was
guy.
pretty relaxed there for like as we were pulling up there. The dog's really relaxed, and then I saw the dog alert to the car. I saw him smell it like is immediately beeline toward
And
the
then
car.
the border patrol, like the patrol guy, like tapped the back of the car, and I thought, oh, yep,
Yeah.
here we go.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what's in this car, but like it's going down.
So I'm one of those types of guys that looks at that like an adventure, you know, like if I go to jail, it's at least a funny story, right? But I was freaking out because Border Patrol is like, they're having a lot of issues
Yeah.
in the South right now. And, you know, probably not anybody you want to fuck with. And so I was panicking. I was like, I don't want to go to jail, but if I go to jail, it's fine. I just want to get out. You know, I didn't know what Texas's laws were, how harsh they were on marijuana and this, that, and the other thing. And I was like, you know, Border Patrol really probably doesn't give a shit about my little roach. But
Yeah. Well, and then like when we
but
finally
if I'd
got
have
up
thought
there,
about it, if I'd have thought about, hey, I only have a little roach, not a big deal. If I'd only thought about that at the time, I would have just been like, no, not a big deal.
well, and I just thought like maybe the dog like just smelled it on your clothes or something, you know.
Which is not a big deal.
But when we got up there, because
It's not illegal to smell like pot.
because then like after I seen him tap the back of the car, all I could do was look at the guy in front
Yeah.
and think like, okay, what's next? And then I just forgot about the dog altogether.
Yeah.
So we get up there and I thought, man, this guy's asking me too many questions because he's like,
Where are you coming
what was your
from?
purpose?
Yeah.
Where are you coming from? Where are you going to? What was your purpose for travel? Like, I thought, man, last time this didn't happen. This guy just said, are you guys American citizens? And we're like, yep. And he's like, okay, have a good day. And like, send us on our way.
Yeah, he did ask that. Everybody in the car, American citizens?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
No, I don't think he said American. I think he said United
US
States.
citizens.
Yes.
U.S. citizens. Yeah. And then like I was telling him, I was like, oh, or he said, where are you headed? And I was like, oh, to Missouri. No, actually we're headed to Houston, and then like you piped it, like you were trying to get in there and say, oh, we're taking our mom down to Texas. She's a winter Texan. And cause I knew I was going to say too much at that point. Like I was going to say unnecessary details.
But see, like, again, like if that kind of situation really happens in real life and I end up going to jail, that for me, that's just a funny story. As long as I've got money to get myself out of jail, you guys can go home.
I mean,
we'll
but
worry about
the
it.
guy with the dog didn't crack a smile, like nothing.
Not
Like
at
he was
all.
very serious. And
Not
I thought,
at all.
oh man,
Like-
that's a skinny dog, a skinny guy, and they look serious. Like what is going on?
Like if I ever get arrested by Border Patrol, it's at least a funny situation and they can laugh. Like, cause I'm not that serious. I had this really funny idea to go to Canada and like stay on the United States side of Canada, right? And keep all our luggage, baggage, all that stuff. Only take our wallets with us to Canada. Get all fucked up on shrooms and then come back and fuck with Border Patrol and get arrested. That just sounds like a funny story.
Maybe for you,
Well, I've been to jail, so
I'd have anxiety about it 'cause I don't like confrontation.
I mean, it would be anxiety inducing, but then I get myself into sticky situations because like I'm an adrenaline junkie,
Yeah.
So,
No, I just think, well, see you later.
They got new zip lines going from Canada to the United States now. It's pretty neat. I wanted to check one of those out.
Like, how does that work? Like, you just fly your passport over?
No, I don't think you need to go. I don't think you need your passport. I don't know how that works. I think there's a little area that you can visit without.
A passport or something?
Maybe you have to have your passport always to cross, but you don't have to. Who knows? I have no idea how it works. I just know there's a zip line from Canada to the United States, a series of them.
I think there's one by Niagara Falls. I think I heard something about a zip line
Yeah, that'd be neat.
over there.
That would be. I went to Niagara Falls. It was really neat, really cool. And they close that off and clean out the bottom every once in a while. They've done that once or twice now, I think.
Yeah, they just did it not too long ago.
Yeah, pretty neat. But that's how our vacation went. Just like a whole, it was a shit show, but it was pretty fun. You know, I had a good time. I worry about leaving your mom, but you know, I guess if something happens, like you can't be a pussy all your life, right?
I mean, she does have her car. You know,
Yeah.
if she wanted to take off and leave, she could. It would take her a few days to get back, but
Yeah.
you know, she has the ability to do that. I feel better leaving her with her car down there than
Not
no car.
Yeah. And she has a phone, so and it's not like, again, it's not like she's completely helpless.
Yeah, she does have a good friend that lives about 30 minutes away from where she's at. So,
And I'm fairly satisfied, I'm fairly confident that she'll be able to find her way around town to Walmart. And like, I so badly wanted to be in the car, like when we're passing by like HEB right there, okay, that's your grocery store. And, I wanted to drive her around town. Okay, this is the dollar store. This is your Walmart. And this is where you need to go to do this. This is where you pay your sewer bill.
and that's why I told her yesterday. I said, you need to get out and you need to just drive around
Yeah.
and see what you got going on in this small vicinity.
And that's kind of what we did to find dinner in Houston, is like, because we wanted burrito tacos, and the place we went to was actually it was closed.
Yeah.
So like we had to find another place, and we just drove around until we figured it out.
Yeah.
And then was it the night before that we did that same thing? We ended up with Popeyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which we could get Popeyes at home too, but I think we were just beyond frustrated and hungry. We're hungry.
Yeah, it was good. Very nice people at Popeyes compared to Kansas
Compared
City.
to Kansas City, yeah.
I hate going to Popeyes in Kansas
They just
City.
yell at you and they're very
like, rude.
Yeah,
It's awful.
I know.
Awful.
I know.
But two different Popeyes locations I've been to in Kansas City, and they're both rude ass people.
But we
over
got
there.
we got some ideas for when we go back, because when we go back, there's really no need to go to Houston again
No.
for a while. There's nothing in Houston that I'm sure there's a lot of shit, just not for
Yeah.
us. It was really, Houston was kind of far off the beaten path where we were going, but I had a good time. Eventually we'll go back. I'm sure we'll go to Galveston at some point and Austin.
I'd
and
still like for you to go to San Antonio.
yeah, San Antonio, that'd be neat. Go to the Riverwalk. There's an ice cream shop there that Sully wants to take me to. And
Alamo.
the Alamo, which is probably just a small little building in the middle
you
of nowhere.
can go in it. It's got artifacts and stuff in it.
Seven artifacts? Or,
It's got more than
kidding.
that.
I'm kidding. Well, anyway, we did figure out some stuff that we want to do when we go back. We want to stay in Dallas. We want to go to the book depository in Dallas. The Dallas Mavericks are there. We drove by AT&T Stadium, which is oddly enough not in Dallas. What the hell city was that? It wasn't Fort Worth. It was Arlington, Texas. That's it. And they got a Six Flags there in Arlington. We'll go there. They actually
Yeah,
have
we
two
went by
Six
that.
Flags. We'll go to the Six Flags there. But there's lots of things that we want to do on the way down there. Next time, we'll stop in Dallas, and of course we'll try something else, and then we'll pick your mom up and we'll drag her along on our adventures
Yeah.
if she'll let us.
Like, oh no, I won't eat. I'll stay in the car.
But so we went to Johnson Space Center. I got this cool little magnet over here. From Johnson Space Center. It's got Saturn V rocket on it, space shuttle, and the lander capsule thing that they fall to Earth in. And that's pretty cool. I collect stuff like this because it's not expensive. It was $9 made in China, kind of bullshit, but
Yeah, that was the only bad thing. Everything I picked up in that gift shop said made in China.
I think it's funny that you look at it now, though.
Yeah.
I think it's
'Cause
freaking amazing.
Rocket wanted the squishy ball. And like I've seen these squishy balls sold in the gift shop
Oh yeah,
at
you
work.
have to be careful about those.
And I flipped it around and it was like $14 for a squishy ball and it said made in China. And I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like, we're not doing that.
I'll pay. You know what? I'd pay $20 for it if it was made in the United States.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. Sorry, but hey, the regulations on that stuff is what you really got to be careful
Yeah.
for. It's like children that
Well, and I
stick things
thought,
in
like,
their mouth
put it
and
in his
stuff.
mouth if it popped, like
Yeah.
what's inside it, you know?
And you don't know, coming from China, it could be fucking anything.
Yeah.
It could be saved spit. Like we don't know. You remember that one time we were watching the China show and they had
They
the
ate rocks?
little boy piss eggs.
Yes.
Remember that? It's fucking crazy. That place over there is weird. But anyway,
Oof.
we figured out a lot of stuff that we want to do. We'll go back down there and eat.
We want to go to Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I definitely want to stop in OKC. Tulsa's a cool place to also. I've been to Tulsa. I've actually been, I think I've been to Oklahoma City briefly, but Tulsa's got a giant Hard Rock cafe there.
You got some PTSD from Oklahoma, though, don't you?
PTA. Oh, yeah, working down there. My
You're like,
God.
"Ugh."
Yeah. I spent a lot of time. Well, we passed by Cassidy, Kansas, and El Dorado in the Flint Hills. That gave me PTSD. Boy. I tell you what, worst couple of years of my life was working. That last couple of years, 2011, 2012. It was terrible for me. I was so burnt out. I didn't give a shit about anything.
Ain't nothing to look at.
Not a fucking thing. There's a bunch of chickens.
Yeah.
You like
Oklahoma,
chickens?
there's just nothing but casinos.
Yeah, that's the truth. We're rolling through there in casino, pot shop. And you can't stop at none of the pot shops, you know.
I mean, unless you have your medical card.
Medical card, like, I don't like that. I don't like that you need that, but I get it. I understand it.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the terror attack in New Orleans. That guy, what scares me about stuff like that and traveling is because that stuff can happen anywhere. It can happen here where we live. I worry about it all the time. The last 2 years, I've been really kind of worried about it. Having open borders down there really kind of screwed us over. This guy was United States citizen, and there was another one in Vegas, probably not connected. We don't know yet. A Tesla Cybertruck exploded in Vegas, and they're not sure if that one was a terror attack or not. They don't know if it was like a suicide thing, or I don't know. They don't know what that was yet. They're still investigating. But man, that worries me. It really bothers me. And I've been doing a little bit of research, and there's I forget her name now, Sarah Evans or something like that, Sarah Adams maybe. That she's been really talking about, you know, she's a former CIA agent. She's really
She's blonde.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's been really talking about the ISIS-K, Al Qaeda, you know, Taliban, all the extremist groups. She's been kind of talking about, you know, they've been kind of ramping things up, and they've got like 1,500 people here in the United States, and the rumor mill out of the CIA, it's like sometime during 2025 there's going to be an orchestrated attack nationwide, and it's like October 7th, 2023 was just like a dress rehearsal, is what she said, and that's terrifying to think about. Like 1,500 people, that's a lot of places they could be. And spread out, and like you think about the large cities and the big crowds, and I didn't really think about it until we were home, but that could have been us.
Yeah.
We could have been in New Orleans, you know, and we could have been standing in the Trump Hotel in Vegas. You know, I don't want to live like that. I don't want to live in fucking fear when I travel outside of my home. I don't want to. I hate that. And that's what I hope something gives in 2025. We get some competent leaders in the FBI Homeland Security, CIA, and they do their jobs. Because over the last couple years, you know, they've been hamstrung by their government.
Yeah.
It's like our government has tied one hand behind their back and just keeps throwing shit at them, you know, and they just need to let them do their job. Stop making everything so damn political.
Yeah.
You know, the people's lives are at stake right now, you know, and we can accomplish this. We can push those people out. We can root them out without giving up freedoms. We don't have to give them our data to get safety. We don't have to give them our Second Amendment to get safety. We don't have to give them more money to get safety. They just have to do their jobs. That's it. But I think after the political stuff settles down, people have a little bit more time on their hands to do and worry about other things, but except for, you know, what people are saying, and we need to start worrying about what people are doing nowadays.
Yeah. Like, go find out who your neighbors are
Hey, there you go. Go shake hands with somebody and say, "Hey, how you doing?"
and go touch some grass.
Go touch some grass. That's right. Hey, shut the phones off. You know, get it. I'm really excited about 2025. I think it's going to be a great year. I think it's going to be awesome for us. I think we're going to have a lot of growth. I think I'm going to do a lot of shit. You know, we got Universal Studios, couple trips down there planned. We're going to end up in Texas at least one more time this year, if not twice, 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
So as of right now, we only have one more trip down there planned with us, and it's when we go pick her up. We don't know if she's going back. We'll figure all that out.
Well,
you know,
supposed to go down there in a month or two.
hey,
Well,
you're supposed
2
to go down
months.
in March. I'm not going.
Yeah. I know. She thinks we're all going. I thought,
Well, she wants you to fly,
yeah.
and I'm like, when's the last time you bought 4 airline tickets? Because
$200
like,
a piece, one way.
yeah, that's
Yeah, at
one way. So you get the cheapest flight possible on the cheapest airline. Round trips like at least $350-$400
For 4 people.
for 4 people, when it wouldn't cost half of that to drive.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, it's a hell of a difference. That's how I'd look at things. I like, you know, that it takes less time to fly, but it kind of depends on where you're going, whether it takes less time to fly or not, because like you end up at the airport from,
Like
you know,
layovers.
and stuff. Like if you don't have a direct flight, it is sometimes faster to drive.
Well, and I like to look at stuff.
I do too.
driving.
I do too. I like looking at stuff and doing things and
And stopping at, you know, pecan stores.
side of the road gas stations that are kind of weird.
Yeah, Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's, that fucking place.
I love Buc-ee's.
I don't.
One of these days, I'm going to buy some barbecue from Buc-ee's.
It did smell great.
It did.
So maybe that
Hey,
was
there's one in
because it was in.
Springfield. We should just take a trip to
What-
Springfield.
What was the one we stopped? Did we stop at one in Texas or what?
Yeah, it was Texas.
That may have been why barbecue smelled so good.
I don't want to say that. I want to say Texas barbecue smelled good. So,
Your
where's that?
barbecue's the best damn barbecue I ever had in my life. So, like, I don't
know. That one lady I really like. Of course, can't think of her name now. I follow her on Instagram.
So this shit happens on podcast all the time. It's a weird phenomenon where you're in the moment, you're on it in the spotlight. You know, you're in the chair. Yeah, you have your phone
I'm
right
gonna find
here.
her because like she is the one that makes me want to make a brisket.
Is that like Hey Grill Hey?
No.
No.
This lady was on that barbecue show, and then I went and I followed her.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that barbecue
Oh
show
my
you were talking
gosh,
about.
What is her name?
That was a good show.
What is her name?
Oh, anyway, we got Snowmageddon. While she's looking that up, we got Snowmageddon on the way. It's supposed to snow anywhere between 3 inches and 30 inches. That's what they're calling for right now. So that, if you're a fan of the show, I've been waiting. I've been not waiting, but prepared. I like to be prepared for things. So you could just imagine what I've been doing the last 24 hours, knowing that there's a big ass snowstorm, bigger than I've ever seen in my life.
This lady's name is Sloan Rinaldi.
Okay.
She's a 4th generation Texan entrepreneur. And so she's fantastic. So you should check her out. Her barbecue looks delicious, but she was on Netflix's Barbecue Showdown and she's really good at brisket. And so that's one of my goals for 2025 is to do a brisket and see how it turns out.
Hell yeah. You said that the other day. You want to talk about that on the podcast or say that on the podcast, that your goal, and it helps keep you accountable, I think. You said...
I just got to be able to afford the brisket.
There you go. That's what you said. It kind of made me laugh.
Because I'll be pissed off if I spend $90 on a brisket and it turns out like a tough piece of shoe leather.
We've had that once before and it's kept us from trying it again.
That was 14 years ago.
Yeah.
Was the last time. And that was back before I was smoking meats. You were just smoking the meats.
Yeah. And sometimes barbecuing or cooking anything is like trial and error.
Yeah.
So you get used to it. And there wasn't no trial and error on that.
Because back then I knew nothing about smoking meat.
Nor did you want to learn either. So
yeah. But now if I could do that as a business, I would smoke meat. But that's so time consuming.
Yeah. You had said that your goal for 2025 is, well, I want to make a brisket for 20, but you know what? I'd like to be able to afford a brisket in 2025.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they're expensive.
And I ain't no shit, man. We went, I got sticker shock going down looking for snacks. When we were in Texas, I was like, holy shit, I can't even afford snacks for the road trip home. It's like, and it wasn't Texas. Their prices weren't any different than here.
Yeah.
It just, because everything's so fucking expensive these days. Like when we go to vacation and stuff, we stop at the grocery store and get snacks and stuff so we don't have to stop on the road and pay gas station prices for snacks because the gas station prices are really high. Yeah. And so we get multi-packs of things and we get sodas and this, that, and the other thing. And the kids absolutely destroyed the car too. But we like doing that kind of stuff. But we spent like $80 on freaking road snacks and it didn't even make it all the way home.
No. I think we only came home with a couple cuties were still in the bag, some cheese crackers, nothing fun.
Nothing
Old
fun.
People snacks.
Yeah. And you melted my gummy bears on accident. That was wild.
Well, who knew that the console was going to get hot?
I knew, but that's only because I drove it on the way down there.
Yeah.
But we rented a car. We rented a car to go down there. And so I've got this new rule in Ashley's car, the boys are not allowed to eat. I don't eat in it. Ashley doesn't eat in it. I smoke cigarettes. I don't even smoke cigarettes in it. And so Ashley found out this weekend, she got a little reminder of why the kids shouldn't eat in the car. And it's because we let them eat in the rental car and they freaking destroyed it. There was food from one side of the car to the other side of the car. And it's like, what happened back here?
Yeah. There was, at one point I went to get Rocket out of the car. We stopped at the gas station. You were following me and Mom. Got Rocket out of the car so we go to the bathroom. And I'm like, what happened back here? It had been an hour and a half into the trip. And there was
that
Cheez-Its
part
everywhere.
It's like that part in Daddy Daycare, remember? And he's going to the bathroom and he comes out smiling. I missed. And Eddie Murphy's character goes, what do you mean you missed? And he goes in there and he... That's what it was like. It was like, what happened? How we didn't even have this in here. Where did you get this?
And then on the way home, Rocket had a napkin confetti party in the back seat where he shredded up the napkins from Whataburger while Sully was sleeping and threw them all over Sully
Yeah.
and in the back window. He even threw oranges up in the back window.
He did what?
Oranges, like, because I took some little like cuties.
That's so funny.
And Sully was like, Mom, Rocket keeps putting food in the back window, and I found 2 oranges.
So he's 5, but he's got the sense of humor of a 10-year-old. He's great. Like
Yeah.
the confetti party in the back seat, normal 5-year-olds, they just tear it up and just throw it on the floor. But he's like, surprise!
Surprise! And then like threw it at Sully while he was sleeping.
Then it's funny to me. I don't know. That's probably why he continues to do that shit. It's
Probably.
because Dad encourages it with his laughs. But
Yeah.
like, how is that not funny though? Like, I didn't even know how Sully could not find that funny.
Sully had it with Rocket.
He'd had it, but the
It's
last
because you made him ride in the back seat the whole way to Texas.
Hey.
Like,
he was uncomfortable, but I was straight. I was good. There was nobody beside me but my snacks. I was great.
yeah.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't make him do that anymore. But little Rocket, 5 years old, of course he's got to pick on Sully, and he's just poking at him, and every time he
Grabbed
falls
his
asleep, and,
glasses,
oh my God, it was rough.
Pulled his headphones out of his ear.
Oh yeah. Like I said, he's 5, but he's got a sense of humor. Like it's a cute sense of humor, but then like he started whacking him, like hitting him, that don't fly. Like once you start being mean, that's it. Done. You can be annoying, but
Yeah. Sully'd be like, safe hands, Rocket. As Rocket's whacking him. Safe hands, Rocket. And then he'd be like, well, that's not working.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why he didn't just tell us though. Well, it was probably because he was tired of listening to me bitch. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was funny. But, well, anyway, I got some, like I said, some exciting stuff coming up in 2025. I got a bunch of interviews lined up. I'm supposed to get together with Dan Rathman on Saturday and record for this upcoming Monday, but that's weather permitting at this moment. He's promised he'll be here, weather be damned. So, I'm not going to hold him to that, knowing the forecast and all that. So I hope, if,
You might be hearing from us again on Monday.
but this has been fun. I got, again, we talked about the cameras last time, but I really want to add cameras in here and get some better audio stuff. So we got some changes coming up in a few months, not anytime soon. I'm thinking by April we should have a new setup. So, but with that, I think we've rambled on quite enough. I'd like to have longer shows in the future, but I'm out of shit to talk about. So with that, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.